Today, I have the rare opportunity of interviewing the man himself, founder and CEO of Bill Gaines, young investor, entrepreneur, business leader, and mogul, Mr. Keith Savanhu himself. Mr. Keith, it's a pleasure and rare opportunity to be interviewing you today. How do you feel?
I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic. We'll get right into it. Mr. Keith, I would like to believe, Bill Gaines is an interesting, fascinating, but rather intricate name. Tell us more about it and the concept behind the business model itself.
Yeah, there's actually a little story behind it. So basically, I always have a bunch of ideas in my head, and I was thinking finance. So I understood that the name has to stand out. So it's actually something that I prayed about. And on this one morning, I woke up, the first thing I said was Bill Gaines. So I stuck with that. So yeah, that's how we came about the name.
Fantastic, fantastic. You heard it here first. He prayed about it and it came through. The business model. Tell us more about what the business model Bill Gaines is more about.
Alright, so basically Bill Gaines' group of companies is mainly into finance. Also into commodity broking. Also have a trading house. But when we talk of Bill Gaines, we're talking of the peer-to-peer financing business, which is something that we're still working on. Something that's been done in the world, but not in Zimbabwe as yet. So basically here we're a marketplace for credit, where we have investors and borrowers. Investors can be anyone in the general public, and borrowers can be small SME owners. So yeah, for SME owners, they get cheap loans, and most of the time when they go to banks, they don't get the loan at all. And investors get greater returns than they'll get from any bank or any mutual fund. We're talking 15, 20, 25%.
Okay. Now, Mr. Savanhu, I'd like to believe as a business, together with an inspiration for the masses, you have principles that you stand on, together with a value system. Would you care to share more about that?
When it comes to values, what's most important for us is to impact numbers. So, and radical economic change, and we want the youth, I want my generation to be at the forefront. So, that's basically what we want to do, and to ensure that everything is done within the law. Most people in business, especially in finance, wanted to take shortcuts. So, we want to advise people to do things the right way.
Transparency. I like that. And you spoke about the youth right now. How would you want to better or contribute to the economy through the youth, and what kind of channels will you be using together with the youth of Zimbabwe?
This is definitely one of them. I mean, sometimes all you need is someone to tell you that can be done. Get up and do it. Because a lot of the time when you tell friends and family about your business plan or your next venture, you often get discouraged. So we're here to tell people that it's okay to dream big, keep your dreams alive, and go for it. So, it's very important that you take action. And action doesn't necessarily mean, putting money into something straight away. Start by writing it down. So it's that simple. That's action. Write it down on paper.
Inspiring indeed. I would like to believe, Mr. Savanhu, at this juncture, you're very young. And there is a world ahead of you. Why business? And why would you want to use Mr. Bill Gaines as your way to the top? Why business? Why not dance? Why not music? Why not all sorts of different things?
I feel like it kind of came naturally. Like growing up, I've always been interested in business. I remember when I was probably 7, 8, I used to save up money, pocket money, and lend it out to friends and family. So I basically had a little bank when I was like 5, 7 years old.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like business is my calling, and I can reach many people this way.
All right, Mr. Savanhu, you've inspired me personally. Uncle Curtly is inspired by this, and ladies and gentlemen, I would like to believe peer-to-peer mentorship, peer-to-peer mentorship is one of the things you spoke about, and it's an important thing within our bracket, within our age bracket, and it's not just peer-to-peer in business, but it's peer-to-peer everywhere. Now, I would like you to expand what peer-to-peer in your particular context is, because a lot of the people heard it when you spoke and when you introduced it, but What more is it about?
So when you say peer-to-peer, for example, if you put your money in the bank, you don't really know what's going. You don't really know what's being done with your money. All you know is, when I come for it and I need it, they're gonna give it to you, right? When we talk about peer-to-peer financing, that means you know where your money is going. You know who you're giving your money to, so it's very transparent. Okay. So yeah, that's basically what it is, and this way we can help each other instead of waiting for the government or big corporations to help us. So we're also an SME. Okay. And most people think starting small you have a very big disadvantage because you compete with big companies. I think otherwise, because we can service our customers faster. We can actually create relationships with our clients. Big companies don't have the time for it.
Indeed.
So we've got a lot of advantages and we need to go for it.
All right. So do I need, particularly, I'm just a youth, I'm just a university student. Do I need a lot of money to get my business going? How does it work? And what would you contribute to that particular channel where people don't necessarily need a lot of money, like you said, to get started?
What you need to get started is vision, an idea, and the ability to chase your dream. If you start a business and you have a lot of money, you're probably going to overlook a lot of things and fail that way. So, like I said, take action. I remember when I thought of this, I had no money, but then I was like, I wrote it down on paper. And I actually did our first website. I actually did a lot of the coding myself. And I think we got started like $70. And then a lot of people got interested. And then that's how you start taking care of, other expenses. So you don't need money at all.
The power of networking. Indeed, I'm going to be networking myself after this. Employment. Talk about the issue of employment. How exactly are you tackling that? And seeing as Zimbabwe, we're facing a big issue of unemployment. So how are you going to be Bill Gates with employment?
I think that's going to be our biggest challenge in this economy. We need to change the way people think. Most people think you go to school, graduate, go get a job. Funny thing about talking about a job, for me, I think it stands for JOB, stands for just over broke.
Okay.
So, you wanna. Why don't you start your own thing? Why don't you become the person that employs people? Why do you always have to be, out there looking for a job? We need to innovate. We're always lost in Zimbabwe, and what really hurts me the most is you often hear Zimbabweans bragging about our literacy rate or how we're so smart. So tell me why we're one of the poorest countries in Africa. Yeah. Tell me why our economy is struggling. I think we need to put all that energy, all that intelligence into another part, which is business and innovation.
Okay. Business and innovation. We're definitely going to channel that through Bill Gates, is what you're saying. Yes. And I want finer details, or I would want to know, because you introduced a 65-90 policy or 65-90 bracket. When I was reading about it, I was well engaged because, or when I was watching your videos rather, I do have my fair share of stalking habits, and I want you to speak more about that 65-90 and how it works, how far you've reached, and where it's going.
So basically, we started a fund management company recently. And initially, this time around, we're offering 65% return in 90 days. So if you do your research, that can't be done on Wall Street. It can't be done investing through your bank. It can't be done on any mutual fund. So it's something that we've done. It's something that I've done with my personal cash. How I came about that is I was challenged. When I sit down with friends and family, I always talk business. So I always advise people to invest or start businesses. And all of the time, it gets to a point where someone has, okay, fine, I don't really have business ideas, I don't really know what to do, but I want to invest in certain things. So I had the challenge to look for a cheap investment that my generation can afford. So we've started with that. So 65 to 90 days is what we promised, something we've done before and something we can do over and over again.
All right. So, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in Canada, if you're in China, if you're in the United Kingdom, you are free to work with Bill Gates and probably get your 65% return within 90 days, a staggering 90 days. That's exciting, and I'm personally going to be working with you from now on. You did speak of commodity trading. Would you care to expand more about what the brokerage is about, together with the commodity trading?
Alright, so basically, I've tried a lot of things, a lot of different businesses. I've tried mining and I failed. And so when it came to commodity broking, you know, there are ways of you dealing into minerals and make much more money than people that are actually
On the
mining,
ground, yeah.
or make more money from commodities such as maize, wheat, more than the actual farmers. So that's how we created this thing. So basically we have a ton of suppliers worldwide and basically link them to buyers. So that's the aspect.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. It's a powerful aspect. Mr. Keith Savanhu, at this juncture, I know that there is a lot of things within Bill Gaines, or a lot of subsidiaries within Bill Gaines that haven't gotten off the top. And I would want to know what kind of challenges you face within that. But before I actually ask that question, let me get to know which ones are doing well, which ones are successful, and how they've become successful.
So basically, I went on to start a bunch of different companies at the same time. This is because, you know, in our economy, you have to be dynamic, you have to be on your feet. So for Bill Gaines as a whole to stay afloat, we need to have a bunch of revenue streams.
Absolutely.
So the fund management company is doing very well. We've got people that signed up for the UK, South Africa mostly, a few Zimbabweans, and yeah, so yeah, that's the most active. That's the one that's doing the best right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
great stuff. And shout out to everybody from South Africa who are obviously doing the most. Zimbabweans, we've got a lot of work to do. Bill Gaines is the next best thing. All right, Mr. Savanhu, to conclude this business segment, I would like to believe, you know, in this world or this concrete jungle, we face a lot of challenges, ups and downs. But in the business world, I know we don't call them failures, we call them lessons. So tell us what lessons you've learned in the journey to Bill Gaines becoming a brand.
I think the most important lesson is to understand that, you know, if something's too good to be true, it probably is. And most important, you need to know your stuff. It's very important. If you know, when people come to me and they say, you know, I'm excited about this new idea, I want to get into transport. Like, my first question is, what do you know about transport? Or you want to get into mining, I'll ask you, what do you know about mining? Because you need to know your stuff. You need to know your business. So that's very, very important.
And lastly, your advice to the average business person or investor?
Don't be average.
I like that. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be average. And that concludes our business segment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the inspiration segment. And without looking any further, Mr. Savanhu, we would love to know who inspires our inspiration for today.
Right, so basically I'm more inspired by movements and character. So basically anyone who's actually not only business people, so basically anyone really who has, you know, made change, anyone really who has impacted millions. You might want to know who my favorite businessman is. I'd have to say Donald Trump. Okay. Because of character.
Of course,
You know,
yeah.
because, you know, he really has that, you know, when you're down, get back up.
Okay.
And it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make mistakes and just keep going.
Okay.
You know, it's a process. Success is a never-ending process.
Okay.
You don't get to any stage where you know relax and say, no, I can just like, you know, kick my feet up and stay in the sun.
All right.
It's not like that. Yeah.
Largely movements and not people. I'll write that down. What wakes you up, sir? What motivates you to tackle another day? Do you have a particular formula you follow?
Oh, yeah, I do have a formula. And you know what wakes me up is, you know, I set goals. I have a vision, like I said. So every day I'm working in line with my vision. So I wake up and I have something to do. It's never a time when I wake up and I don't have anything to do. So in terms of formula, I think there's a little formula that I want everyone to follow, that everyone follows actually, but everyone's got their own order. So most people want to be secure, you know, good job with benefits and whatnot, and then they want to be comfortable, you know, they have nice home, nice car, and they want to be rich lost. So that's their last priority.
Some powerful stuff there, Mr. Keith Savanhu. And I would like to believe you do have a favorite quote. Share it with the world and exclusively share your quote.
My favorite quote has to be, relax, nothing's under control. Because we often panic too much, you know. There are always problems in life, and we always overreact. A lot of the times they're not as big as we think they are. So just relax.
Okay.
It's just way of life.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. No, that's true, because when I look around, I see $1 million enterprises all over. So definitely, I will relax. Nothing's under control. And the last question, of course, Mr. Savanhu, I would love to believe that you do have a base of support, be it family, be it friends. And has it been forthcoming as far as pushing you to inspire and to motivate?
You know, support from friends and family. You know, a lot of the times, you know, you get discouraged when you, especially when your idea is grand, especially when your idea is big. So you're supposed to be able to support yourself mentally. So mental state has to be correct. I often talk about, you know, people always come to me and say, you know, I've got a bit of money saved up, I need to start a business, I don't know what it is to do. And I often say, simple exercise, close your eyes, look around you, open your eyes, look around you. Now think of everything you just saw. Everything's $1 million business. Even if you go outside, you can sell air, soil, sand, water, anything and everything is $1 million business if done right. So let's not make small things big problems. Let's just like go on with life.
All right.
What's most important is to start.
Fantastic. An inspirational segment it has been. Mr. Savanhu, it's been an absolute pleasure interviewing you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me in.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, it surely has been an ecstatic day with Mr. Keith Savanhu. My name is Curtly Gwindi. See you next time.